Welcome back. In our previous segment, we aired part one of my conversation with former gubernatorial hopeful Zephyr Teachat. And among the stuff we talked about was the numbers in our primary, campaign financing, new allegations also surrounding Governor Cuomo, as well as many of you may have seen that piece in the New York Post suggesting that Cuomo had a secret pact with powerful New York Republicans. The Post says that Cuomo promised not to help Senate Democrats in their Long Island races in exchange for support with his reelection bid. Former state Republican Party Executive Director Michael Lawler, who headed up Astorino's run against Cuomo, told the Post that Dean Skelos, Senate Majority Leader, clearly was working against Rob's campaign. He and the governor cut a deal. Now, with a Republican-controlled state Senate, some believe that business interests could also get a big break here. If they got behind the governor and state Republicans, they're going to have an easier shot at blocking bills that would increase, among other things, state minimum wage, that would raise property tax, subsidize tuition for undocumented workers, publicly finances campaigns, and I can go on. All right. Dominic. Let's just say Dicker got the story right and Lawler's quotes. I mean, we don't know for that matter if it's, true or fictitious. But for hypothetical purposes, let's say it is. Is there any consequence for the governor? Because it fed into all the suspicions. Let's see what we've heard here since Tuesday. The head of the DCCC, right, Steve Israel, the Democratic congressman from Long Island, whose job it was to try and get Democrats elected. He looked around. 3 incumbent Democratic representatives are going to be unemployed in January because of what happened on Tuesday night. And he said specifically, yeah, go talk to the governor. He promised me to get on the thing. I must have missed him out there. Didn't come through. Then you got other folks, Democrats, saying, time out a minute here. He's told us, told the Working Family Party, right, that he'd get behind us and he'll campaign with us. I must have missed the appearances. Now you got the allegation, Republicans mad because they think that Skelos made a deal with the governor, and as a byproduct, they're saying the governor cared more about helping out Republicans than helping out Democrats. Is there any consequence for the governor? I think that's probably the most interesting answer.
Honestly, I can't see one unless he perhaps runs for a 3rd term. Andrew Cuomo is a very astute politician. Now, I'm talking the raw politics in terms of he got his way, what he wanted, and he had to give up relatively nothing in order to get his way. He had a non-aggression pact, and that's putting it nicely with Dean Skelos. Those two are working together. They're supposed to be fighting each other, but that's not the deal. Anybody that knows Governor Cuomo knows that none of this, as you well know, is surprising in terms of what went down with this governor. The fact of the matter is, as we've been talking about with people with Capitol here on this set and so on, the governor, one will say, well, why would he want a Senate controlled by Republicans? One, it makes his hand look stronger. If indeed the cards work out and the pieces fall into place, I don't believe they will, but for him to run for president, it makes him look like a bipartisan figure. Also, he's more of a moderate when it comes to financial issues. So the assembly that will go off the rail in terms of the left, he could work with the Senate.
But here's the thing. All that made sense if 2 things. One, everyone's still afraid of you. No one wanted to cross you. I think with a little bit.
Many still are,
but I think with Moreland right now, a lot of people see he's a little bit more vulnerable.
He's a little weakened, yes.
But de Blasio had to play nice with this governor because he wanted something. Now all of a sudden he looks and says, time out. They're not going to pass the minimum wage. Not with 39 Republicans or whatever in the state Senate, especially if Klein, caucuses with the Republicans like we all believe he's gonna. And I listed a litany of other things, hoping to get more money in the coffers through property taxes. This governor's not going to do that. He probably didn't want to do it to begin with, but he's not going to do it now. So if you're him, if you're the liberal side, what do you have to lose to go after this governor really loud? Our friend Richard Brodsky, where they might have not wanted, to rain on the governor's parade before, what's the downside for them for trying to make it difficult for this governor?
Excellent question. The downside is real simple. If you go after this governor in terms of his left flank and you're a Democrat, your issues will become almost non-existent to him. That is the DNA of this governor. I hate to put it this way, but go along and get along in terms of a legal sense when it comes to politics. And so you saw, and here's, Dominic, how could you say something like that? Well, the Working Families Party embarrassed him publicly by exposing weakness, and look what he did. De Blasio delivers the endorsement. The governor, the moment he got the endorsement, said the right things, and then completely walked away from the Working Families Party. Completely walked away from them.
It will be very interesting what happens on fracking, who gets the casinos. We're going to learn a few things here.
Tappan Zee Bridge.
Right, Tappan Zee Bridge, who's paying for the thing, right? And then we're also going to learn what's going to happen here as it relates to minimum wage. How bad does he really want it? Was that part of the deal with Skelos? All those other things will come down. Usually New York City stuff's more interesting than Albany. I think Albany's going to be more interesting than the city here for a while.
You know who's the odd man out standing on in terms of this, the Independent Democrat organization, the state senator from the Bronx, who goes both ways. His name escapes me at the moment. Klein. But he, as of right now, as of today, but in the world of Albany politics, as you know, this could change at any minute. But as of right now, he's the odd man standing out because the Republicans don't need him. Bottom line.
Interesting. All right. And you can catch part 2 of my interview with Zephyr Teachout. Really interesting. I'm only telling you this much.
She was very good in that interview.
Dominic and I, and I'll be up front, we thought the primary challenge was a joke here. When she got 30%, you knew she was serious, but more than that, there's substance there. I'm telling you, you're going to remember her as a statewide potential
Richard,
candidate.
I know you got to toss her a break, but she's right about campaign finance. When you look at it, something's wrong when the governor can run for re-election with $40 million and his competitor have $5. Something's wrong with that.
And she's selling more books than the governor is right now.
And she's selling more books than the governor.
She's talking about something people know, which is there's too much money in politics and too much business self-interest going on into our legislation. All right. When we come back, though, we're going to get into another issue, Obamacare. You probably have heard Supreme Court's going to take a look at it. Republicans have threatened to once again repeal the legislation. Well, after the break here, we're speaking with Young Invincibles co-founder Aaron Smith about the obstacles lying ahead of the president's signature legislation. Stay with us.